everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of our new series called Fangirlz Got Issues. Joining me today and my always partner in crime, Kristen. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. We're getting into the single issue thing. It's weird.
I mean,
It's so weird.
I am. When you messaged me that, girl, we gotta do some single issues. First of all, I asked, "Who are you? What happened, Kristen?"
What are we doing? Yeah. Well, and then you started getting all these comic frames and framing all these single. So you've jumped in.
I just jumped in because I'm like, oh, Kristen, this is good for Kristen. It's good for me.
Well, it's good for the industry. So even though we still kind of don't, we're not the biggest single issue fans, we're supporting the industry. We're supporting local comic shops. It's nice. It's good.
That's true. That is true. We are doing that. Although I did buy them digitally, but that's okay.
You're still supporting the actual industry, though.
That's true. Because the 2 issues that we're talking about today both sold out in my local comic shop by the time you told me that we need to get that. That is the reason that I got this on digitally, and also Hoopla. We gotta talk about Hoopla. #Hoopla.
The best.
So today we're gonna be talking about Once and Future by Kieron, Gillen, and Dan Mora, with color by Tamra Bonvillain. There you go. She's Kristen's holding that up, and this is like a mini cover that I have. I'm obsessed with that cover.
It's so good.
Oh my god,
it's so good.
I mean, if you hold it up again, it's pretty much just like the 2 lead. I mean, we think that they're the lead as of now, and then it's like the sword. It's like there's a kind of like a villain behind it. We don't know yet. I absolutely love it.
It's so powerful. So even if this is something like you had no idea what it was, I would pick this up for the cover.
Exactly.
I kind of did. I mean, I knew the people behind it. I know Dan Mora and Kieron Gillen, but
personally, you know them personally.
I know them. Yeah, they live down the street. But but I would still pick this cover because it's so powerful.
Right.
So good.
And so that's the first one we're going to be talking about, which is by Boom Studio, who are publishing this. And then the second one we're going to talk about is Strayed. That is also Kristen's holding up the variant cover of it.
By Dustin, who does Descender.
Right, which is one of our favorites. And, so this is like this is by Dark Horse. And it's, okay, this is where I'm going to apologize. Who is
the creators? Carlos Giffoni and Juan and Matt Kreutzer.
Okay, so this is Carlos Giffoni's first ever comic book.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And this is by Dark Horse. So we're going to be talking about issue 1 today in depth, and then we're going to see next week we'll be back for issue 2, which will be dropping soon. And we know we are a little late to the party, but hey, better late than never.
Hey, well, and there's tons of people with tons of stacks of singles that they got to get to. So if you're one of those people and you're seeing these, you're like, wait, I need to read that. Go ahead and read it along with us and let us know in the comments what you think.
Correct. And then if there's other single issues we should be dealing with, because apparently now we're in single issue business.
I don't know what's happening.
This is a new frontier, you guys.
Yeah.
This is nice. All right. So without further ado, let's start with Once and Future. So this has gone into its 6th printing as of now. Issue 1 has gone on the 6th printing. Supposedly this was supposed to be a 6-issue miniseries. Now this is an ongoing. We love Kieron Gillen around here. The Journey into Mystery, the in-depth review of this you can find in our channel. And Dan Mora, we're obsessed with Dan Mora.
Look at his art. It's beautiful.
He's also the one who made Santa Claus sexy. Klaus, Grant Morrison Klaus. Come on.
Yeah, that art was gorgeous. And he did the first 5 issues of the new Boom Buffy series, which was fantastic.
And not to mention the Tamra Bonvillain, who is the colorist for this.
Oh, beautiful.
She's also the colorist for Captain Marvel that is being the ongoing by Kelly Thompson, who we are obsessed with. But her color is just so popping. It's just eye popping, and just gorgeous. I love, I love everything about this art team. I love everything. We're going to get into the story a little bit, but the art, from the art department point of view,
A+.
I mean,
5 out of 5.
Deer thumbs, up,
I mean,
5 out of 5.
Just so good. I love this splash
that
page. That's awesome.
Look at that. It just, and then people look so gorgeous. I love that. I love it when people looks good.
Pretty people.
Pretty people. I mean, look at all those pretty people on a date, upset about wine being spilled over them. It's just beautiful. And if you like this art team and if you're into good stories, I want to just sneak in another series that they're all involved with, Hexed by Michael E. Ellen Nelson. I've been pushing that to everyone. It's like, read Hexed. Also by Boom. And then this same art team, Tamra Bonvillain and Dan Mora, and then it's by Michael Ellen Nelson. But we can talk about that another day. So let's talk about Once and Future, the story. What was the story, Kristen?
Well, that's hard to say without spoiling everything. But it's basically about everyone. I've forgotten every name. Have you forgotten every name?
Bridget McGuire is the old lady.
Yeah, you know her. And then her grandson?
Duncan.
Those are really Duncan. That's right. Those are really the characters we're dealing with here. It starts out Duncan. He's on this terrible date. He gets a call from his grandmother, who we just mentioned, who I can find somewhere.
There she is.
Who lives in a home.
Right.
But she doesn't really need to. She's just, like he put it, aggressively independent.
Uh-huh.
And she wanted to go into this home to not bother him, pretty much.
Right.
So he gets a call from her, and she's like, hey, are you busy? I need you to come out here. And she went missing from the home. She, just left.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta go help her. Well, do I want to start spoiling? Because it's kind of a big deal.
So the thing is, she actually decides to leave the home when she hears a news. A news of that something got missing from some historical digging site. To us, or readers, were like, okay, what's the big deal? But it perked her ear. And the thing is, I want to mention, and this is not a spoiler because it happened in page 2, that the first time we meet Bridget, she's sitting there, just eating
rolling cigarettes.
Yeah, just trying to rolling cigarettes and stuff, which is you're like, okay. And this is happening in the background. She's not, there you go. There's Kristen is showing that. She's just doing that in the background in the second panel right over there. And someone's like, oh yeah, we heard the news, change the channel. And it's like, it's very difficult to mend your fingers at this age.
If they're broken, yeah.
If they're broken. That is the first thing she says. I fell in love instantly. I'm like, I don't care how long this series goes. I'm going to be there with her because this is exactly the old lady level sass I want to achieve.
You're here for it.
I'm here for it because we don't see old ladies in comics. We see
not enough.
Any media, for example, we see old men a lot, but not old ladies. And this is exactly what we are seeing. Old ladies just being bitch ass bosses. And that's what this issue 1 was all about. So, I mean, I don't know, what's your spoiler free thoughts?
Spoiler free thoughts. I would give this, if I'm going to rate it, which I had to on Goodreads. If you've watched our show, Free and I love Goodreads. We can't read a book without throwing it on there. And I feel weird if I don't rate it. So I did give this a 5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
It made me incredibly interested to see what's going to happen next. I was so happy to hear it wasn't a limited series because this feels like something that could go on for a long time. And it has a lot of levels already.
Exactly.
And it pulled me in. And we already talked about the art and how beautiful that is. But I mean, even the characters, we're really just learning about 2 characters right now. And I love both of them. I'm interested in both of them and the dynamic they have. And the spoilers I won't go into, but the spoilery stuff was extra like, yeah, I'm here for this.
Right. So the thing is, like, it is like, this is not a spoiler because this is part of their the summary, the plot synopsis. This is a lot to do with Arthurian legends. I'm not sure about Dan Mora, but Kieron Gillen is very British, like very British,
and this is set
in England.
Yeah.
So this is about Arthurian legend, but the thing is, it's not the story we know. Right? Like, we know a certain story about Arthur and his round table, Excalibur, Merlin. This is not that. Like, we're going to talk about it a little bit more in a spoiler, but absolutely agree that the fact that the first issue, because we're always trade waiter. We read in trades, so we read in collected stories. This is the sign of a true good story, or beginning of a true good story, when the first issue gives you the information, introduces you to the character, brings you in, like, just sucks you in. You're like, yep, let's go, next issue. When is the next
I gotta say, when we decided to do these single issue episodes, which you're gonna see more on our channel by the time this comes out, you'll see that me personally, there was some single issues, like some specifically number ones, where I was just like, if I didn't already commit to doing the rest of this, I would be like, no, you're not getting any more of my money because you didn't pull me in like you needed to, or you didn't give me enough information.
Exactly.
And I got all of that here. This is how you do it. This is totally how you get someone hooked.
And the thing is, like, once I read it, I'm like, yeah, I get it, why it got 6th printing. Like, it's absolutely earned. Like, oh my God. So yeah, so we're giving our total thumbs up on this. Absolutely. Like, dear, like this thumbs up. So yeah, so go get that, and read along with us, and then when you come back, this video will all be time stamped, so you can come back and you can now skip to our straight non-spoiler review, and when you read it, you can come back and listen to our spoilery video, or like a review spoiler section of our review.
Definitely. Right, so, and before you go, like she said, there are like 6 printings of this, so if you want to go support it, you can go get the book. This is a really nice, like, the Boom comics are really thick, like cardstock,
right?
Almost cardstock. So they're nice quality books, and because if you're already going to pay $4, like, you want a nice book, and this is a nice book. But I will say, like Faria said, Hoopla has the first single issue, so they're going to be kicking out the singles for you. So if you have access to Hoopla, there's your free option.
Right, but only thing is it comes out 2 weeks delay.
Sure.
So, so that's something to keep an eye on, but then again, you have your Comixology. Comixology is like $199. Have all these different options of print that you can get. The covers are so gorgeous. I want to get every single one of them.
So good.
Like, so you can go get that. I know the 6th printing is going to be in shop on October 2nd. So, options are there, my pretties. So go and get them. And then come back and listen to our spoiler video. Okay, so we're ready for spoiler?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. So it kind of happens in the very early that it turns out the news that she's hearing, where there was a murder and an excavation site, and there's this shady agency that you're not sure who they are or what they're doing. They kind of say that they are nationalist because they say, oh, we want England back, So it's kind of like a nationalist, but you don't know exactly which direction they're leaning. They actually stole Excalibur. That's, she calls it covered.
Yeah.
Bridget says like, it's covered. And then it's actually Excalibur. And what Bridget is saying, that the problem is they're going to go and reincarnate, reincarnate was the word, they're going to raise Arthur.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
raise Arthur. But so you are saying, oh, what's so bad about it? Because Arthur is supposed to be the good guys. That's what we know. But the problem is, the legend says it, and this is something where I'm not sure, because I know Arthurian legends, like what we have been presented all this time, but legend has it, the return of Arthur is going to be either when England is at its darkest, or he's the one who's going to bring on the darkness. Like, the prophecy is very gray. And that's why they, like, Bridget gets her grandson out of a date. Is like, okay, I'm cranky old lady. I have back pain, and you gotta come and help me. Like, that's what this whole thing is about.
And I want to show that panel when he comes out and he's like, what does she need? And then here we go. Just a ton of weapons that she uncovered from the woods that she like left however long ago.
And then her thing is like, oh yeah, all of them are there. What do you think? What's gonna happen?
And he's like, what's happening? And then she starts talking about, oh, she used to hunt vampires. No big deal. And he's like, what? You always said supernatural stuff like was fake and like it was not a thing and you weren't into that. And she's like, wait, like, do you know what a questing beast is? Well, now you do. And then there's this crazy like snake wolf creature or something. I don't really know. It's nuts. And then, he has to run away from that. And there's some beautiful art within this whole, like, all these panels.
No, but the funny thing is, like, she says that, yeah, when you're in doubt, you should run.
Yeah. So he runs.
He starts running. He thinks that she is behind her. But she's like, oh, no, just to distract him, I need to find my weapon.
Yeah, so like whatever that thing leaves and he distracts it enough, she pulls out a gun. She pulls a gun on Duncan. And he's like, wait, you shot me. So she shoots him. It doesn't really hurt him, but she shoots him. And then she pulls a gun on him and is like, hey, you got to take me somewhere. So he's driving her and she's got that gun out like the whole time. I was waiting for her to drop it. She never did. She's like, she means business.
So that's how you know things are serious, that she means business. And, and Duncan tells her, like, oh, I'm your grandson. You are not going to shoot me.
And
shoots him.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, you shot me. And the ear, she's like, oh, I was waiting to graze you. But, old lady, I'm old. So my hands are shaky. Like, what?
That was crazy to look at because at first I was like, oh my God, she shot him in the head. But then I was like, okay, it was just a light, but still.
She didn't even wait to say that, oh, we need to get that checked or put a Band-Aid on. No.
No, just get in the car.
Get in the car. We're going. It was just, talk about getting character across. Like, we know it. Like, within like this 23 pages, 21 or 23 pages, we know all about her. Like, we know that she means business. He's totally like fish out of water, and two of them are going on a journey.
I think that's the best part. We said it before in the non-spoilers, but the pacing of this is perfect for a first issue. I really did essentially go into this fairly blind. Again, I was like, I like that cover, I like that artist, I like that writer, and I knew there was something to do with Arthur, but I didn't really know. And now I'm like, oh, I have to read all of these. Like, I'm in.
Right.
And that's how you sell books.
Right. And my negative is I have to wait for issue 2.
Yeah.
And supposedly this is not even 6th issue. This is an ongoing. So we have to wait forever.
And we're used to that binge culture. Because that's essentially what trade waiting is, or omnibus waiting especially. Like, we want the whole thing right then. And now it's like, oh, we're back to like network TV over here.
Who watches network TV anymore?
Ancient technology.
Talk about ancient technology. That's over there. So yeah, and then the thing is, the bad guys or gals and the group is supposedly a nationalist. They seem to be very standard issue nationalist, with like, oh, we want to save England. And it kind of brings up the question that how much of this is to do with current Brexit and all of that.
I wondered that too. Yeah.
I think like whether Kieron Gillen is kind of bringing that into it as well. But this being the first issue, we don't see too much of that. It was mostly involved with introducing Bridget and Duncan, like the good guys, and then the potential threat that is there, because they actually the bad guy, like the issue ends with the bad guys finding Arthur's grave. Like, we don't know whether it's Arthur. We think it is Arthur because that's what Bridget is telling us. But the thing is, it was actually a mummy that's just lying there, and those bad guys looking rather happy about it.
Yeah, there it is.
As Kristen is pointing out, like, there's this mummy situation, and they're all looking rather happy about this.
They're smiley right here.
Smiling right here. And I love this panel. Is like, it's Bridget. Every panel is like alternating, so it kind of feels like a movie.
Oh yeah, like that was so well done. You know, she just kept talking over those panels, and
Right.
it because the story kept moving. Like I said, like there's no usually with especially with singles, I feel like there's some point where I'm just like I'm bored, but I was never bored.
So yeah, so I mean, I don't know about the other ones that we're gonna be doing and whether we're gonna be continuing to do them or just say that, hey, you know what, we're gonna come back when the trade is out. This one for sure, as it stands right now, we will continue.
Mm-hmm.
Like
For sure.
this is just amazing. I mean, I was like, my heart was just racing the whole time. I'm like, no, there's the issue too. So yeah. So any final remark?
Nope, other than go get it. You know, and like we've said a million times now, we're not like single issue people, you know? But if you're not too, but this sounds good to you, like you may want to pick it up in some fashion.
Right. I mean, and I would not recommend waiting for, because Boom is notorious about hardcover.
Yeah, it may never have one. It probably will because of the popularity, but it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
Their trades take a long time to come out too.
Right. I mean, come and talk to us about Giant Days and what we feel about that.
I'm so sad. I'm wondering if it's coming back,
but hey, people of Boom, if you're watching us, thank you. First of all, thank you so much. Second of all, send us free books, and third of all, please get us all those hardcovers of Giant Days.
we need them.
Even though we are all caught up, we want our Giant Days, books to look all pretty over there. They're all over there. You can see them. But anyway, all right. So go get Once and Future, and come back next week for issue 2. But we're just so excited to talk about it. With that out of the way, so this time, hang on. We are gonna be talking about. I know. This is. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Trade. So you have to help me with you told me before, it's like Carlos
Giffoni is how I'm saying it. I don't know that that's right, but it looks right.
Okay. And
Wando and Matt Kreutzer.
Right. So this one is by Dark Horse, and also looks like this is their first ever. I'm not sure about the artist, but I know for the writer, this is their first ever comic. So I was kind of mindful of that when I was reading it. That okay, this is not Kieron Gillen, because I kind of read this back to back. So I'm like, okay, that was Kieron Gillen, who was a pro at this point, and this is someone's first time. So I was kind of thinking about that. So tell us what the story is about.
Oh my gosh. Well, you saw a cat on the cover. His name is Lou.
And the regular viewers should also know. Kristen, do you like cats? I don't know.
Well, there's a cat on my shirt. I love cats. People probably know that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I'm just kind of just making sure of that.
Literally had no idea what this was. Was just like, oh, there's a cat on the cover, and it looks spacey. So we're gonna check that out. I do want to showcase some of the art while I kind of explain it. But this is Lou, and the series starts out with Lou, what appears to be going through space, and that is what you find out. He can travel around space. Was it in his mind, or was it actually happening?
It sounded like it was dimensions. Like he could travel dimension. That's how I took it. That every one of them is different dimensions.
Yeah, that's what's shown right here. Which, by the way, I loved this art. This is gorgeous.
The thing is, because I read it digitally as well, it did not capture that beauty because I had to move the panel.
Move the panels, yeah. Well, and I love the panel layouts, and this is more floppy than the other one.
Right.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, all the space and the color work. And I really, really love the art and the way it was done. So yeah, Lou's traveling through dimensions, and he comes back to, I forget her name. I forget everyone's name except Lou. Lou's the only one that mattered. His mom? This woman?
His cat mom. But anyway.
So what you find out is Lou has basically been experimented on by people, so he is able to do this. I'm just gonna keep showing this crazy. I mean, this is insane to me. I'm just like,
I love it. Yeah,
It looks so good.
I can just talk about the art and then the coloring. I can just talk about that. Who's the colorist? Can you please?
I think that's Matt Kreutzer, I think.
Okay, all right. But yeah, this is just. But anyway, so it sounds
drawn
like...
and colored by Wando. I apologize. It's lettered by Matt Kreutzer. The lettering was good too.
Okay.
I mean, but yeah, this is insane. This is just like beautiful. And if you like spacey things, this is super spacey. But yeah, so you realize Lou's been like experimented on, and him and his human are kind of stuck on this, what I assume is like a spaceship, where they're doing these experiments on him. This is actually what all he went through. So like he's saying that, okay, because he can like talk. It's
because there's a translator,
right? That she made.
Yeah, that his owner kind of came up with, and so they can talk. Which I'm like, I need that.
I know, right? I mean, it made me so happy when he would talk. Like, it's like little broken kind of English, but it's still like he's explaining himself well. Like right now he's saying he remembers all the needles and he remembers all the experimenting and stuff, which is sad. But you know, she takes good care of him. She loves him. He's the only family she has. And she wants out of here. She is just tired of them like doing these experiments on him, and she's worried about that and what's going to happen when he travels around to these dimensions. But they're kind of trapped on the ship to these people's will.
Right, and we're going to talk about that in the spoiler section, why they are, because you know that I think because what we just talked about, that's kind of part of the story synopsis that Dark Horse have mentioned. So we're not kind of giving a lot of spoilers away. So, Kristen, what did you think about the story?
I love this too. I feel like it did its job for a first issue, and again, gorgeous, amazing art, like really drew me in. I'm not over this specific splash page. It's so good,
especially the paneling. Oh my god!
Yeah, I mean, and then we go right to this one, which is also gorgeous. Like, oh, I loved it. And I was also so happy that I was like, oh yeah, a cat story. And I love this cat, and I love like the woman, and I'm already invested in their story. I want to know what's going to happen. I love that he's intelligent and he can talk, and I'm in. I'm totally in. If you're into sci-fi, I feel like you're going to like it.
Right. I mean, so to me, I completely agree with the art, the panel, the color, like the character of Lou and, you know, his human and all of that. I do feel, unlike Once and Future we just talked about, I needed a little bit more information to understand what was going on. I felt like it gave me enough for me to go and get the second issue. Like I'm never like, oh, this sucks. No, I mean I'm invested to get the second issue, but I'm like, well, so are these the bad guy? Are they government? Are like, you know, we're gonna talk about them a little bit. Like it just kind of left me wanting a little bit more information.
I feel like that's part of the slow burn of it, you know. So whereas like I was like Once and Future never stopped, it was just on. This was slower. But I was still fascinated by it. And the mystery elements, I didn't need it to be explained. I'm like, I'll find that out. Like, I'll go on, and I'm cool with that, you know? So
yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe, you know, if I was reading it in a trade within the next 10 minutes,
you would know. Yeah, maybe within the next 5 pages even. And that is the downfall of a first issue. But I still think it did what a first issue needs to do, where it blew me away with the art.
Right.
And I really enjoyed the main 2 characters. It's another 2 characters that we kind of get to learn about. And I'm like, I'm in. Like, I like you both, you know?
Even though we can't remember one of their names.
No, not at all.
Here's the thing. Was her name ever mentioned?
I was going to say, did she have it? Like, we just need to know Lou. That's all we need to know.
No, I know. But I think her name was mentioned later when they were calling her over the intercom. But it was just kind of like...
Kiara,
yeah, there you go.
Which is on the first page, by the way.
Wow!
Totally forgot. I think it just wasn't mentioned as much as Lou. So I was like, oh yeah, the woman. I care about the cat.
Right. That's kind of, and I think that was the focus anyway. Like, you know, the Lou is supposed to be the main focus and all of that. And yeah, it's like so if you like sci-fi, a talking cat, a dimension hopping talking cat, great art, and I think, you know, you should check this out. I mean, we can't promise how it will be by issue 3. It may, as it stands right now,
Sure.
we're going to pick up issue 2.
A great first issue. I love this variant, and the regular cover is amazing too, which you had up earlier.
Right.
I mean, so if you want some cool art on your wall too, like,
right.
you know, because we like to get comics for art as well. We'll frame it and put it on our wall. I mean, look at that. That's awesome.
I mean, and the thing is, like, yeah, it just it had a cat in it. And to be honest, though, I gotta say, I'm like, this cat is in space. When I saw the initial cover, and I didn't know anything, but I'm like, how many times we have seen cats in space? So I'm gonna go get this, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't even think of one.
Chewie in Captain Marvel, like you know, yeah, you know.
I guess
she's not. She's a Flarka.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know, it's
not quite a cat, right?
Not quite a cat. All right, so with that, do you want to, you know, like, so we're giving it, I'm giving it, hang on, I'm giving it this, if you know what I mean, like, not quite this, but this, okay. if you know what I mean, like,
I'm gonna give it 5 stars too. 5 out of 5 for me. I'm in. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm probably just it's gonna be like this. So,
but you know, I have a bias because I'm gonna love Lou.
Right.
I loved him so much.
Yeah, I mean, if I say it would be 4.75. That's where I'm at, you know.
That's good.
Yeah, 4.75. Because if I'm giving 5 to Once and Future, I have to adjust it a little bit, you know.
I mean, I had the same entertainment value, honestly, for both of them. So
yeah. So anyway, so the spoiler for Strayed. It turns out the reason that they are locked in this space and, you know, the spaceship is because Lou is finding these alternate dimensions or alternate worlds. And I wasn't quite sure if they're in alternate reality or it's in our, like, you know, this particular reality, but just different dimensions, like, you know, different galaxies that, you know, he's finding this world where there are certain resources that's available. And
so this is again him going around to those places and trying to find what they need.
Right. And it's this specific, you know, resource. There's a name for a MacGuffin name for it. I forgot. I mean, you know. Then the people that they're working for or they're being held, like we're not quite sure about the relationship is not very friendly. It's a very fraught relationship. It sounds like
because she straight up wants to leave, and the guy's just like, no. I mean, he's like, you can leave, but you can't leave with Lou. You know,
we're keeping Lou, and then it kind of shows like later on that the first world that Lou found at the very beginning of this issue, they kind of went in, and the people over there are indigenous, and they're not necessarily very, very, you know, intelligent, and they're just kind of held one of them, made them, like, you know, tortured them into showing the source of this, and then they found out the source is actually not, you know, not natural of that world. So they now want Lou to find whatever the source of that MacGuffin is coming from, pretty much. And so that's when, you know, Kiara's like, no, we don't want, you know, we can't do that. But it's like it leaves off with a standoff between them, you know, between this shady organization, or I'm kind of thinking it's government, like, you know, and that. So one question though, is Kira and them, are they human like us?
That's the impression I got, but I guess we don't know.
Because I
couldn't
it's
possible
tell.
They just look it.
Right. I couldn't tell if they were like humans at a very far future, like, you know, year 4000 or something, or they're a complete different alien form that's just happened to have cat-like creature. So
yeah, that's something we may, I mean, I imagine we'll find out eventually. Right,
because they kind of look a little off, but I wasn't sure if this is the artistic choice or is that how the character's supposed to look. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's just weird faces. But I don't know.
Yeah, but I couldn't tell. I'm like, yeah, because hey, it works either way. Yeah, so I mean, I like that mystery. I want to know. I want to know what's going on. And is it because the human civilization is coming to an end and we need those resources? Because then that kind of creates a moral dilemma. Or is it because that we're just evil? Then that creates a different kind of moral dilemma. And I mean, I'm in for that. I want to know.
I'm into it, but I will tell you, the entire time really when I finished it, I was just like, they better not kill Lou. Because, you know, every freaking animal story, the animal has to die, and I will legitimately cry. So I don't want to have that. I'm not into that. I'm mad about it already. Like, they better not.
I'll be honest. I feel like it's heading that way. Because this is a six
better not.
Because this is a 6-issue miniseries, right? Like this is like, you know, and this didn't get like an ongoing. It's going to be a 6-issue miniseries.
I want him to kill the bad guys at the end. That's what I want. Plot twist: don't kill him. Have him kill the bad guys.
Yeah, I haven't killed the bad guy, but I have a feeling that it's probably going to end with Lou dead. Like, I don't know. I don't want it to happen.
Don't do that to me.
I know.
I don't want it to happen.
Because the thing is the way Lou talks, you know? Like the way Lou talks, I feel like it's a bit of a tragic characters. And that's because, you know, because we read so much.
He? I think he's just like a cat. Like, I don't know.
I know, but the thing is like he has a...
I love this little moment where he's meowing behind the door and she can't come in yet because she's got to go like talk to that guy. Yeah. And he says, Kiara, come in, want to see. And she's like, I'll be back soon. And he's like, okay, soon. And then he's just like waiting there. And I'm like, oh, it's so cute.
I know. And that's, I kind of love that though. I kind of love that even though he's supposed to be advanced, like he can talk.
Yeah. Because even at the end, he's just sleeping.
Yeah.
He's just sleeping in a bed.
Yeah, but
like
he still has this cat-like quality. Like he's still a cat. You know, so he hasn't like lost anything. And that's one of the things, like I love it when like animals, they're supposed to be advanced and stuff, but they still have their own quality left. Like in like dogs and cats, I really love that. So
even like, you know, he was exploring the dimensions like I keep showing, but then he comes back, he's like, Lou back, and then she's like, yay, and he jumps in her arms and he's purring and he says happiness, and I'm like, oh, it's so cute.
I mean, you know, and then I know I'm kind of excited to pick up Vol issue 2 and then see. So like surprisingly, Once and Future and Straight both comes out in the same schedule. So therefore, we're gonna be back next week to talk about both of this. So keep an eye out for that, and you know, join up on all our social media, as you can see the link below to when it's gonna be dropping. We'll try our best to kind of get it to you before the weekend, but you know, weekend next week. But you know, life happens, we can't promise, but you know, it will be there. So yeah, let us know if there's other single issues we should be picking up, because apparently we got issues now. So
yeah, let us know about any other space cats. I gotta know about them. Yeah. I just got Goose and Lou. Where are the rest of my space cats? Let me know.
And you know, and Kristen's gonna create her own army of space cats. So
yes,
you know,
I have to.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. So yeah, and obviously all the other shows that are coming in, you know, I mean, you know, just subscribe and
check it out. Yeah, give us a thumbs up if you liked it.
Yeah, and comments and all. Yeah. You know.
We want to hear from you.
We do. So anyway, all right. Well, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.